The slap wasn't loud, but the silence after it was. We were standing around the Christmas table, relatives talking, music playing softly, plates clinking, normal noise. Then my stepdad said something about how I never contribute to this family. I replied calmly, I actually paid for most of this dinner. People laughed awkwardly, thinking it was a joke. He didn't. Before I could say anything else, his hand hit my face. Not hard enough to knock me down, just hard enough to humiliate me. The room froze. My mom gasped. Someone dropped a fork. My cousin stared at the floor, and he said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "That's for your attitude." I didn't touch my cheek. I didn't react. I looked at him, then around the room. No one spoke. Not one person said, "That's wrong." Not one person asked if I was okay, because in that moment, keeping peace was more important than confronting him. I realized something painful and very clear. I wasn't in a family. I was in an environment where his ego was protected at all costs. So I picked up my coat. My mom whispered, "Don't make this bigger than it is." I nodded. "I won't." I walked out without another word. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't feel angry. I felt finished. The next morning, I packed a bag. Within a week, I moved to another city for a job I had been hesitating to accept. I didn't announce it dramatically. I just left. They thought I was overreacting. They thought I would calm down and come back. They thought time would erase what happened. But time didn't erase it. Time clarified it. For years after that, I barely spoke to them. Occasional holiday messages. Short calls with my mom. No direct contact with him. And strangely, my life improved in every way. Without constant tension, I focused on work. I built a career. I built confidence. I built distance. Distance gave me perspective. I stopped seeing that slap as an emotional moment. I started seeing it as a turning point. The day I realized I had been tolerating disrespect for far too long. Years passed. Then one evening, my phone rang. His name flashed on the screen. I stared at it for a long time before answering. His voice sounded different, slower, less certain. "I need to talk to you," he said. I didn't ask why. I just listened. He cleared his throat. "Can you come visit? It's important." I looked out the window, thinking about that Christmas night, the table, the silence, the walk out the door. "Okay," I said calmly, because I had a feeling this conversation wasn't going to be what he expected. And for the first time, I knew I would be the one in control of it. I didn't rush to visit. I took a week, not because I was busy, but because I wanted to arrive without any leftover emotion. I didn't want anger speaking for me. I wanted clarity. When I finally drove back to the house, it looked smaller than I remembered. Quieter too. My mom opened the door. She hugged me tightly, like she had been holding her breath for years. Her eyes were tired. "He's in the living room," she said softly. I stepped inside. My stepdad was sitting on the couch. He looked older, thinner, slower. The loud presence he once had was gone. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he gestured to the chair across from him. "Sit." I did. He didn't look at me directly at first. His hands were clasped together, fingers shaking slightly. "I've been thinking about that night." He began. I stayed silent. "That Christmas," he added, "I shouldn't have done that." It wasn't a dramatic apology. No emotion. Just a sentence he had probably practiced many times. I nodded once. Not accepting. Not rejecting. Just acknowledging. He continued, "I thought you disrespected me in front of everyone." I replied calmly, "I told the truth." He swallowed. Yes, that word hung in the air. For years, he had built his authority on no one challenging him. That night, I didn't insult him. I didn't shout. I simply stated a fact. And his ego couldn't handle it. I realize now, he said slowly, that I was more worried about how I looked than how you felt. I didn't speak. I let him sit in his own realization. Then he said something unexpected. I've been sick. That explained the change in his voice. Heart issues, he added. Doctors say I need to avoid stress. I almost smiled at the irony. For years, he had been the source of stress for everyone else. Now, he was being told to avoid it. I've had a lot of time to think, he said, about how I treated you, about how you left, about how you never came back. He finally looked at me. I thought you would return once you cooled down. I didn't leave because I was angry. I said, quietly, I left because I understood something. He waited. I understood that if I stayed, I would keep accepting things that slowly destroyed my self-respect. He nodded slowly, as if that thought had visited him many times before. My mom sat nearby, listening but not interrupting. I want to make it right, he said. I asked, how? He hesitated. I don't know, he admitted. And that was the first honest thing he had said. For years, he had always acted like he knew everything, controlled everything, decided everything. Now, he didn't even know how to repair what he broke. You can't undo it, I said calmly. You can only understand it. He leaned back, absorbing that. I do, he said. I understand that I lost you because of my pride. I didn't feel satisfaction hearing that. I felt distance. The kind of distance where someone's words no longer affect you deeply because you've already healed without them. We talked for a long time, not about the slap, not about the past, about normal things, work, life, health. And through the conversation, I noticed something important. He wasn't trying to defend himself anymore. He wasn't trying to justify. He was trying to understand who I had become without his influence. At one point, he said quietly, "You're very different now." "I'm the same," I replied, "just not silent anymore." That sentence stayed with him. Before I left, he stood up slowly and said, "Thank you for coming." I nodded. I came for me. He understood what that meant. I didn't come to fix him. I came to confirm that I no longer needed anything from him. And that realization changed the power dynamic completely. Before leaving, my stepdad stood at the door, quiet. I don't know what to say, he admitted. "You don't have to say anything," I replied calmly. Actions matter more than words. For years, he had assumed my silence meant weakness, that leaving meant surrender, that avoiding conflict was submission. Now he saw the opposite. I had left, grown, built my life, and returned on my own terms. I was calm, composed, and in control. He realized he had lost the power he thought he held over me. I didn't lecture him. I didn't demand apologies. I simply walked out, confident, unshaken. That slap had once been a symbol of his dominance. Now, my calm authority and self-respect were the symbols of mine. And he understood, without a word, that the dynamic had changed forever.